Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Injury Time. On a quick fix because India's campaign at the Under 17 Women's World Cup had just come to an end after a final defeat to Brazil. Result very much on the expected line, performance very much on the expected line. So we won't take much of your time क्योंकि it's already 10 o'clock और यहाँ लोगों को मटन बनाने जा रहा है और डिनर भी करना है क्योंकि ये कुछ हुआ नहीं है. तो इसके लिए won't take much of a time. Like directly getting right into it. Abby, three matches India played. First up against USA that they lost 8-0. Then they played Morocco, a match again which they lost, and आज की match against Brazil. हारना तो लिखा हुआ था. We did not expect them to win, but about the kind of performance that the team put up, your thoughts on that?
I don't think it was a particularly good performance to go with. I think we probably would have expected a bit more astuteness, and maybe honestly, given how we saw them play prior to this tournament and how Denby talked about the style of play with the team, we probably expected them to handle the ball a little better.
Uh-huh.
My the only honestly the only issue that I feel is the level of expectation that came into being, purely because they did show glimpses of playing with the ball or trying to play with the ball, and Denby did talk about that style of football that he was trying to implement, and he's been with this unit for some time now.
Right.
So we probably expected them to play a little bit better with the ball, but I also understand that the intensity was like way off, like
Yeah.
I mean way off syllabus. So yeah, I mean that did play a part, but yes, I did expect them to do a little bit more with the ball than just hoof it away, like what we generally see with Indian women's football.
In some of the exposure tour games, right, they actually scored because they actually went for it. So I'm surprised as to why they never went for it, because it was clear that you're always going to concede like 3-4 goals every game, right?
Mhm.
But at least in exposure tour games they went for it, they tried to score, and they managed also. I think one against Netherlands they got, फिर किसी I think Chile or Mexico against they got one more, like
Hmm.
sporadic here and there, but at least they showed more intent. I was completely surprised, taken a lack of intent. आज शायद ब्राजील के अगेंस्ट जाके हमने उसका 20% देखा हमने.
Correct, correct.
But Morocco, supposed weakest team in the group, like apart from us, देखा ही नहीं.
अबे घिन के तो तीन टीम थे उसमें से ब्राजील और यूएसए दो थे. What is supposed
And I'm
weakest team?
saying we didn't show the intent against Morocco
Yeah,
also.
Uh,
I
but
do
then
agree.
again, with respect to Morocco, in their first game against Brazil, they put up a good, like they gave a good account of themselves.
Agreed, agreed,
But then we
agreed.
were also supposed to give a good account of ourselves, ना?
We were
हम क्या
supposed to
कर
do
रहे
a lot
थे?
of things. We were
हम क्या
supposed to
कर
do a
रहे
lot
हैं?
of things.
मोरक्को ने तो दे दिया.
By the
मोरक्को
way,
everybody saw.
by the way, the senior team not less than 12 months ago scored against the senior Brazil team also. ठीक है, उन्होंने भी intent दिखाया था.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I know it was 5-1, 6-1, but why you can't take
but
away
there
from
was a
that?
one.
Yeah, that was a one.
Yeah.
And not
And
just about the one, but it was just generally the way they played and the amount of intensity that they were able to match Brazil with. And mind
Yeah,
you, it was not a Brazil team that was very weak per se,
yeah.
right?
Like for
So,
that was Formiga's farewell match, so it was
yeah, and so people were there and
like
everybody really played.
true.
So it wasn't a weak team, and we did show quite a lot of intent against them. And even the under 17 teams have shown intent and have shown that zeal and ability to at least use the flanks. This time I didn't even see them using the flanks properly, which is something that we've seen them do. So,
Yeah,
yeah, in that sense, it was a disappointing campaign.
like Orko pretty clueless to say the least, right? Like because you never knew what the team was up to.
like there was no set pattern. Like I'm not sure as to where they had a plan. And honestly, the most clueless people on the pitch were the defense. I felt, because I mean it's a myth. Indian football में हम लोग करता है, where we put the exceptional ones or the calm ones at the front. Actually उल्टा होता है. You need the calmest people at the back, and it looked like the most like confused and the most जो लोग जिस सबसे ज्यादा हड़बड़ी में थे ना, वो लोग डिफेंस में थे, and they kept giving the ball away. Thus we never had a chance. Only we were under the cost. Like जाता था
Yeah,
बॉल 15 सेकंड के अंदर अंदर फिर से आ जाता था
वापस आ
यहाँ पे.
जाता था, correct.
Like we never had a moment to breathe only. because of what we were doing with the ball when we managed to get it.
Yeah, that's pretty.
And and if I'm honestly critical, I think we mentioned it just a while back as well.
Hmm.
If I'm going to be like really critical about anybody, it's going to be two people, and that's Shilki and Astam,
Ah,
because they have had more experience than the rest of them, to be very honest. And Shilki was so was honestly, there were two things with Shilki. Either she was anonymous, like she wasn't impacting the game in any which way, or she was going on and fouling. And in the previous game, like against Morocco, when you felt like she could have been sent off, and she was extremely lucky to be substituted with one yellow card. So she was completely out of place, extremely disappointing performance from her. And second, Astam, being the captain, being one with the experience, being sort of a senior player in this group, like you can say that in terms of experience, um, being dragged by the ball in that sense and just committing so much and leaving your, the whole rest of your defense to fend for themselves. It's not taking responsibility. Sorry.
True, true. Look, pretty disappointing. Like, and this sums up the whole idea of having an under 17 World Cup in India where the team has not qualified. Like,
ah.
just falls on wet water, right? Like, you don't know why did we even have that? If it was for to get people into football, but I don't think that's worked out.
The exact opposite might have happened actually for Indian women's football. This World Cup might actually be a disaster. I know some people are saying, iske wajah se some people are going to start playing the game and all of that, and that's fine. That's fine, right? My only thing is, if I had a women's football outfit and I had like two investors yesterday, so one investor going to look at the World Cup and say, listen, this is not up to the standard of the game that I want to play, right? This is not where I want to invest my money, right? So actually, I feel the World Cup might have a detrimental effect. This is my feeling, and honestly, I do not like those comments. It's super annoying, but I can't help but feel that if you had not done this, if you had not hosted this World Cup, all of those misogynistic comments on Instagram, and I do not like watching those comments. Right? I do not like those go back to the kitchen wala comments. These are not good comments. But
Absolutely.
you have to think that if the girls are not put in this situation, maybe maybe they would not have to face these comments.
Yeah.
Honestly, the decision makers need to take a long good hard look at themselves, but they never
Yeah.
do, and that's my annoyance, right? Some people have got 8 years of employment from this business,
Yeah.
okay? And if we are going to host the next Asian Cup, that's 4 more years of employment,
Correct.
right? These are the same gurus, these are the same people. So till 2027, which makes it 13 years of employment. The 2014 task force for the World Cup was started in 2014 for the 2017
Yeah.
World Cup, right? That's 13
Yeah.
years of employment. These people are today happy. They'll sleep peacefully. Okay? FIFA AFC will sleep peacefully.
Yeah.
Okay? They've gone. They've done what they've done. Some people who made money of this World Cup, they'll sleep peacefully, right? But for the likes of me and Amresh, were so invested, and we're not kidding when we're saying invested. We literally give our time on a voluntary basis, to sit, watch, coach, do whatever, right? It is not it is not doing us justice. This did not do us justice. This was not fair, right? At a time when we our girls struggle for game time, I am calling it out. This is not done, boss. This is not done.
This, like, absolutely, this top-down approach doesn't work, man. Like, when are we going to understand that? इससे कुछ होता नहीं. Like, we saw this with the men's under 17 World Cup. Where are the guys today? Like, what has happened to the men's team? Like, we are still where we were before the under 17 World Cup.
ISL,
Where,
playing in the ISL. No,
हाँ,
apparently that is the level that we want to be at.
या लाइक एशियन कप क्वालिफाई किया बहुत बड़ी बात है नहीं. 24 टीम कंपटीशन है आज के तारीख में वो. That is the
Exactly.
reason you're making it.
Captain of that team struggling to get into the weakest side in the ISL,
Yeah,
by the
that's
way.
that's
Yeah.
Can't
what.
get minutes at the weakest team in the ISL.
And
ये
I
अपनी
do,
हालत,
and
ठीक है?
I honestly, I do agree with Joshua's comment.
Yeah,
KWL was extremely competitive this year.
भाई,
Very, very, very good advert for women's football. And The fact, I'm sorry, but the fact that Gokulam didn't qualify actually bodes well for the
Hmm.
football in that
Hmm.
state,
Hmm.
because that allows other people to really dream. To
Why
be
this,
very
this
honest, that
this
is
will
what allows
fuel
people to dream.
Lords' dream. Lords' IWL entry will fuel that dream. At
Yeah,
least you hope that this one entry, you don't know if they'll qualify ever again. Honestly, you
hmm,
don't know, right? At least they will keep trying for 4 5 years. It's like Ravi told us on the pod, right? Once you taste it, right, it's there, right? They've
Yeah,
tasted the ACL, they want to be back. Similarly, Lords will now taste the IWL, they'll want to be back. And I agree with Abrishman. I saw Gokulam versus Kerala Blasters. There were chants, there were
yeah.
people at it. There were people properly, proper bands was happening at that properly going at each other. I actually think KWL, if the Blasters fans and they have the power to take any product to the next level,
yeah,
my honest advice to them, okay, up, please invest in your women. Please go watch them and please go support them.
yeah.
You guys have a massive fan base and you guys have the power to make any change you guys want to. Honestly,
Honestly, this is what local, leagues do.
True.
At least in places where there is football culture. I'm not talking about places where there's no football culture, but in places such as your Kerala, Goa, Kolkata, or Meghalaya, Mizoram, Manipur, these places,
you're talking about men's
you
football culture. You're talking about men's football culture.
no,
Alag hai.
even women's football culture. Yeah, to be very honest,
Goa
it's
used
not
to
like
have
people
women's
will.
football culture.
Huh,
No
it
longer.
doesn't have anymore. But
Meghalaya,
that's down to the state association more than anybody else.
correct. Meghalaya has a non-existent
Yeah,
ecosystem for women,
yeah, yeah.
right?
But
Mizoram,
I am saying people will turn up if there are leagues.
ha,
How many people turned up in Arunachal for the nationals?
bhai,
even in
many,
even in
so many.
absolute like
Rain pouring in, ha.
rainy conditions, very bad ground conditions whatsoever, people turned up and watched the games. So where people love football, they'll turn up even for women's football. I'm
True.
talking about that. So this is what local leagues do, more than going on a national or a global level. If you actually try and grow the game from places that actually care about football, you'll see the change happening a lot more than by say a World Cup.
Just hope that the IWL doesn't shift to Saudi Arabia next. Only I'm telling you.
You never know. You
I
never
hope
know.
he's not listening to this podcast. Huh?
Well, since you brought Saudi Arabia into conversation, I think we should talk about that news as well, because Saudi and India are in line to probably host the 2027 edition of the Asian Cup, as if we did not have enough competitions to host and like whitewash over all the problems that Indian football is facing.
I have
Okay.
something to say. I have
Yeah, go
something to
on.
say. I think, we qualified for this Asian Cup, and our federation is not confident enough that we'll qualify for the next one.
हो
So they
सकता
are
है यार.
like, host kar lo,
हो
दो
सकता है.
लगातार खेल लेंगे.
हो सकता है
Teen,
बहुत. तीन
teen,
खेल
teen,
लेंगे
हाँ,
हम फिर.
तीन.
teen.
हाँ,
वेरी मच पॉसिबल, क्योंकि चेत्री
Honestly,
इज नॉट प्लेइंग फॉर एवर, दैट इज अ गिवन.
yeah, yeah.
वो ही है. It's
हाँ.
to allow for that transition to happen, and honestly, it's pretty mind-boggling that it's not mind-boggling. It's actually kind of true that we are kind of little scared as to whether to qualify for 2027 or not. You hope that someone will come into their own by
या
then.
या
ठीक है. There'll never be another shit. There'll never be another Bhutia. But कोई और अलग किस्म का इंसान आ जाए, ठीक है, so तो
जो
ठीक है.
हाँ.
But my point is, it actually I think might have a detrimental effect because वो चिंगारी रहती है ना to qualify for the Asian Cup,
Yeah.
वो रहती है,
that
right?
that
That,
that that's
that
gone.
push, that drive remains. I'm not sure what happens to. So when the drive happens, right? The ISL falls in line, I League falls in, everybody falls in, everybody's like, oh no, let's push this team to the Asian Cup, let's try and do it.
Hmm.
Right? For example, when Bob Houghton and co qualified, I think 2011 May, they had like a 6 month camp, which is a
Right.
ridiculous idea.
Correct.
But tha push tha, right? So if the push is not there, I feel हम lightly लेने वाले में से लोग.
But
That is true. That is true.
we actually don't
We do
know
tend to
what the history of the league
chillax.
ISL itself will be, right?
Yeah. We tend to chillax if we don't have, that pressure of, qualifying. for the tournament.
for the Asian
But
Cup.
just going back, Orko was talking about stats. ना मैं खोल के बैठे हुए हैं यार. We've not spoken
हाँ,
about.
बोलो बोलो बोलो.
He wanted to talk. He wanted the stats. No, okay. So Orko first match, India versus USA.
Two
Third,
shots.
we had I think
We had
two
two
shots
shots. They
on
had
it.
50
हाँ
shots.
हाँ. But I'm talking about passing accuracy. We were talking ना. You said 40 to 60 के बीच होगा passing accuracy. I'm telling you passing accuracy average सोच लो तुम. तुम्हारा match तो अच्छा भी है. 38% in the first match. ठीक है. Against Morocco, it was passing accuracy was 49%, and against Brazil, it was 42%.
Oh.
So that
Eesh.
is no, that's not even close to 60.
Oh.
Not
Okay.
even
Yeah, okay. Can we move on? How many shots have we faced? We faced 30 against USA.
30 against USA,
Huh.
20 against Morocco,
Hmm.
and 30 again against Brazil.
80 shots in 270 minutes
Yeah,
of
and
football.
on target 14 plus 10, which is 24 plus 13, which is
24 plus
plus
13 plus
13, so 37.
24, 37, and the first match you're saying?
No, total 37 on target.
37. So I'm saying 80 shots in 270 minutes. That's a shot every 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes. That's pretty damning stats actually. Look at it, like
Yeah,
it's-
but that's what we have done, right? We just sat back and let the other team do whatever they wanted to do. No,
Yeah,
कुछ किया ही नहीं.
हाँ.
yeah.
कुछ कर भी नहीं सक रहे थे. But apart from that, like how has the competition been in general? Like keep India aside, has it been worth watching
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah.
for a
100%.
It's
neutral fan?
100%.
it's been extremely exciting. Anybody who watched Brazil and USA would say that it was a superb game of football. Even Japan's game have been very. It's been beautiful to watch them play.
Uh-huh.
Spain has been
Spain,
very
was
good.
was
China has been very good. So yeah, even Mexico, also Chile. I think it's been pretty competitive and it's been pretty. Honestly, it's been a wonderful watch so far.
Well, that's a
And
hard
I'm
thing.
sure it's going to get better come the
Yeah,
quarterfinals. It's
once
all
the
going to get
knockouts
better.
begin, like it's like just a matter
Yeah,
of like in a few days. Like I think
yeah,
this weekend onwards is when the knockouts get underway. So Diwali के पटाखे कहाँ फटने वाले हैं, हमें पता है.
yes.
yeah.
That is
But
cool.
My money is still on Japan though. My money is still on Japan to win the whole thing though.
I
Yeah,
will
just
hope. I honestly, I'll hope for it. I
uh,
love Japan.
no,
But you
I
know,
want it to go out of AFC. साला AFC teams काफी जीत चुके हैं. I want someone else to do it.
No, no. I
I
want
this is
sorry,
the only World
very.
Cup every
I
teams
am
win.
very regional in that sense. Huh? I want Asia everywhere. एशिया को कम से कम यार देखो इंडिया तो पहुंच नहीं रहा फुटबॉल में कहीं कभी एशिया को सपोर्ट कर ले कुछ तो होगा.
This is the only World Cup that AFC wins. Bhai. Sorry, no.
Yeah, that's also very true. But AFC will ends up hosting a lot of World Cup. One now in November, December. Then next year, the Women's World Cup also co-hosted by AFC and the
Yeah,
Hmm.
Oceania
Oceania.
Confederation. Oceania,
yeah,
जो
yeah,
भी है. The Trans-Tasman region is hosting it.
Ah.
yeah,
Fuck
yeah,
the
yeah.
world.
Wait.
Whatever. Renil has a question. How about the Under 20 Asian Cup qualifiers?
Ah, we can quickly
Quite
talk.
an inspiring performance, right? By
Yeah.
like
Ah.
जीते तो नहीं पर quite an inspiring
Nay,
performance.
nay.
No, no, they held on for very long. They
It
Yeah.
wasn't
created
a limp
chances also.
performance against. I watched both the matches against Iraq and Australia. It wasn't a limp performance
Yeah,
Yeah.
at all. It was a pretty crate-worthy performance, especially against Australia.
yeah,
They could have very easily, what do you say, heads could have gone down after conceding two, and but they hit the post twice. They scored one. This could have been two all easily,
yeah.
and it took like a cracking third goal to finally break the result. वो भी कुछ
Hmm.
83rd minute में हुआ, but for a proper 30 minutes, right? India had Australia under the cosh. That's
Yeah.
something I never thought I would say at any age group
If
level. At
if
any
you
age
know,
group.
yeah, actually, if you saw Australia celebrate that third goal, it there was so much relief
Hmm.
on everybody's faces because they were really under the pump at that point in time.
Now guess what? What if we never got to see this match? Because that's very much of a possibility in Indian football, is it?
Of course.
But this is where
This is
it
how
eventually
important
boils down.
it's how important it is to watch these games. Yeah, I mean,
Correct.
you get to understand so much more about your team. You
Like
get to
we got
know them.
just a week back, we got to see the Viviano's under 17 boys play their qualifiers as well, and that was also a very good performance.
तुम
Yeah,
नहीं
yeah.
तुम सोचो for a parent or a parent of a 13-year-old or a 13-year-old who's playing at a Minerva
Yeah,
or a Sudeva or a
Hmm.
Bengaluru or a FC Goa. ठीक है, पेरेंट बोलेगा क्या फ्यूचर है, वो हारती है, बेकार टीम है at the global stage. Then they go and see these performances, right? Then they're like, नहीं, there might be more to this than we think, right? That boy must be like, भाई मुझे भी खेलने हैं, ठीक है. I think Coach Pratt made a very interesting point about the arrows. Or was it somebody else? I don't know. When you have when you're wearing the national team jersey every week in week out, ना उसका value समझ में नहीं आता है. You
correct.
you don't really understand what a big responsibility you have. So it was really nice. One thing that I really loved about the under 20 boys was that they did not disrespect the ball.
Yeah,
ठीक है,
Yeah,
दे अगर बॉल वहां तक गई है, they tried to do as much as they could with it. Someone was mentioning on Twitter, right? Tyson, for example, and this round glass Punjab inherited some fantastic talents from Minerva, by the way. Tyson,
yeah,
Hmm.
Myson, ये सारे लोग, like it's so good to see an Indian team. I'm not saying they played a very good brand of football, still
yeah,
not modern, but we are playing to our strengths. We are not trying to do something atrangi and not doing that also, not doing,
yeah,
we are not half and half nahi kar rahe. We are committing to our strengths. We are playing according to it. We are trying to get the results, right?
yeah.
Whether it be in a Gurkirat or a Myson or Tyson, and you have to also say now add the listings to
yeah,
this under 20 under 17 batch. There is something, you may not have one Shetri, but you
yeah.
may have multiple people to take up that spot. You
True.
Yeah,
finally
Right.
might have a
Team
team.
in place. Right.
Finally, you
exactly.
might have a team. And I say this with a lot of cautious optimism because Renedy, remember what Renedy told
Yeah,
us.
yeah.
Renedy keeps telling the story to everybody. Under 17 level पे जापान के साथ खेले तो 2-0 था, सीनियर
Uh,
गए थे तो 7-0 हो गया. It should not be the same. It should not be with the same with these boys. I disagree with the fact कि इनको ensure that they have game time. No.
Let them fight for it.
Let them fight for it. Let them realize the value for that jersey. मुझे
true.
अगर कल बेंगलुरु एफसी को अगर जर्सी है, what it means in terms of sweat, blood, sweat and tears to give
Yeah,
to get the jersey. By
Talk
Phil,
to In that sense, talk to Lara. Na every single day he goes to training, trying to fight for that
Gurpreet
goalkeeper
spot,
spot with
yeah,
Gurpreet.
Gurpreet spot, right?
yeah,
Right.
He's not
So
given up, right? He's
yeah.
not given
exactly,
up.
there is
Like,
that drive, and when he gets those
and
games,
that you see
he
in those
shows.
He's
Durand
so
Cup
good.
matches.
हाँ, he
Yeah,
could
he
he could
shows.
he could very easily have been like, मैं ज्यादा पैसे के लिए एक नॉर्थ ईस्ट यूनाइटेड चले जाओ या ओडिशा.
Yeah,
That kid might have been number one at maybe 6 of the 10 ISL clubs.
yeah,
अभी भी मैं बोल रहा हूँ लारा शर्मा, right? But he chooses there. He chooses to fight there. He understands that by this is a fight that I have to win. I have to win. Similarly, these kids also need to realize at the arrows level that this is a fight that I need to win. I need to fight for my spot. You look at all the people who've broken out from the World Cup, right? And they're all हम आज की डेट में देख रहे हैं कहाँ गए हैं, right? Ferran Torres, Phil Foden, Josh Sargent, Serginho Dest, ठीक है, Timothy Weah, George Weah's son, right? ये सारे लोग, they are alumni of that World Cup.
yeah,
Sergio Gomez, who just moved from Anderlecht to Man City, उसने
yes,
फाइनल में 2 गोल मारे थे स्पेन के लिए.
Hmm,
yeah.
hmm.
Remember, right? At the time we thought the final was over. 2-0 Spain tha. We thought final was over. Then
No.
England came back.
Then Foden did
These,
Foden things.
these guys have had to bide their time. ठीक है? I'm pretty sure Foden was pretty frustrated because he
Oh
just
yeah,
Of course.
he dominated the World Cup here, right? He was like लग ही नहीं रहा था. It looked like it was like some guy who was way ahead in his football development playing against a bunch of kids. ऐसे
Hmm.
लग रहा था. Against every team he played. He must have been super frustrated. And it's Pep Guardiola also. मुझे पता है Guardiola free में कुछ नहीं देता
कुछ
है.
नहीं देता है.
कुछ
Exactly.
नहीं देता है वो. He made him struggle for it.
True.
Make these guys struggle for the game time. I'm telling you, ये इसका असर can only be positive, can only have a positive.
Absolutely. And not just the players, even coaches for that matter. Steve Cooper today is a Premier League coach because from there he went on to the Championship, came up, and now Nottingham Forest ke saath hai. On that note, like, what have you made of Venki as a coach? Because we've always spoken of Bibiano, a really good guy with the under 17s. Floyd has been good with the age group guys also during his time. But what about Venki now?
Benki ka arrows is a disaster. Sorry, Benki arrows was a disaster to watch. Benki's arrows
Yeah.
were pretty bad. And so was Louis Norton Di Matos's
Yeah,
arrows. The only arrows that
Yeah.
had a semblance of credibility was Floyd's
Floyd.
right. Yeah,
arrows. Uh, वेंकी ऑब्वियसली है, बट ये जो सारे बच्चे जो सेटअप से आ रहे हैं ना, जिस सेटअप से आ रहे हैं ना, दे बीइंग टॉट प्रीटी मच द बेट राइट थिंग्स. ठीक है, अभी क्या हो गया ना, अभी it started from FC Goa really taking it very seriously, right? The youth
yeah,
development and all of that. फिर
Mm-hmm.
PFC ने भी बोला भाई, उसकी उनकी भी चुल हुई. They are also like, if those, why not us? ठीक है.
yeah,
Now KBFC is trying to push they're trying to push. ठीक है, they're not at that level yet, we know. ठीक है, but from what we saw in the Duran, what we saw HFC reserves also, people are trying. ठीक है.
yeah. Indeed.
My two hometown clubs, I will not speak out. मुझे गुस्सा आता है मैंने यूथ डेवलपमेंट उनका हक कुछ है, ठीक है, बट शायद ही कुछ है. नहीं
उनका
है,
यूथ डेवलपमेंट उनका सीनियर टीम है.
नहीं है. उनका यूथ डेवलपमेंट इज सुमित पस्सी. ठीक है, सुमित, हाँ, सुमित पस्सी
Sumit Passi
डेवलप,
and Constantine love story is
हाँ,
evergreen.
सुमित पस्सी डेवलप हो रहा है. बट आई एम सेइंग अभी नाउ देयर इज अ रिलायंस. ठीक है, there's Bajaj's Minerva who you can never count out, right?
Yeah.
There's Dempo Academy who's literally winning everything in sight in Goa. ठीक है.
Yeah.
So अभी there are setups who are producing good players. I still feel like this under 17 Women's World Cup scouting can still be better.
Yeah.
Why only one kid from Dempo? Listen, that team is literally destabilizing ISL youth setup there, FC Goa ka, who at a cost, significant higher cost,
Yeah.
which is being run. FC Goa ka setup, ठीक है. FC Goa very good, but they are coming up against a behemoth locally
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Dempo. When it comes to youth development, right? Still वो
And
नहीं.
I feel, that also fuels them
हाँ,
to be so much better footballers when they are making that transition from the development unit to the senior team.
it,
They are better as footballers because they are facing such good opponents at home.
huh. Ravi also said it. Ravi said we don't want to end up losing to Dempo every time. It's lit a fire. Their season in
Yeah.
Goa under Taka under 20 Goa champions, right? Right now, I actually think Dempo might have surpassed Lajong Aizol for being the best youth academy in the country. Okay, so I'm saying it's lit a fire. Ravi said we also don't want to be spending crores on youth development and be lagging like this.
Yeah.
Right? As I hear, I'm also hearing that Dempo ka under 20 is some super good outfit, right? So why not more from that outfit? Liston Colasso, by the way, was made in Salgaonkar. He was
Yeah.
not made in FC Goa, right?
Yeah.
Devendra Murgaonkar was also from Salgaonkar. I've seen these two kids play in the GPL for their this thing. So all I'm saying is अभी यूथ डेवलपमेंट को लेके इट इज हाई टाइम वी स्टार्ट डॉक्यूमेंटिंग स्टफ यार.
True.
Yeah.
इट्स हाई टाइम वी स्टार्ट डॉक्यूमेंटिंग कहाँ से आ रहे, कैसे डेवलप हो रहे. we need we need to put, it seems that everybody else is concerned except the officials themselves. Everybody else is a nerd in football. Indian football, honestly, it's limited to only the nerds. अगर देखो
Yeah.
तो limited to only the nerds. ठीक है, so the nerds are interested, but the officials should have started this process long back.
Yeah.
They
I
don't
was
give a
just reading,
flying fuck.
मैं आज ही पढ़ रहा था, बेल्जियम used to reach the World Cup. ठीक है, ग्रुप
Yeah.
स्टेज खेल लेते थे, नॉकआउट भी चले जाते. एंजो बियरजॉट एंड ऑल इन 86 एंड ऑल, वो लोग
Yeah.
किए हैं, बहुत
Yeah.
किए. मार्क विलमॉट्स एंड ऑल किए हैं, but they were not very happy with their style of football. They were like very बहुत bland style of football है. In 1998, what they did is they ripped up the
Yeah.
entire तुम्हारा youth development वाला plan, which Germany also by the way again did. after the 98 wala shift, ठीक है,
Yeah.
every time they suffer a setback na, they are like, they know what's coming, ठीक है, they take it humbly in their stride and they rip up their plan. Insanity is only doing the same thing over and
Yeah.
over again. Everybody's trying out new plan. Everybody, there's a video, YouTube video, 50 minute ka, over the Belgium FA का technical director and how this change happened. There's a beautiful Guardian article. सब पढ़ रहा था मैं इस
Yeah.
पे. They've ripped up the existing blueprint पूरा. They've said, you know, नया era है, नए सोच के
Yeah.
साथ. Simple.
नए सोच, नई जिंदगी, नया सोच, नया.
Brilliant note to end.
Yeah, because mutton is still boiling and hunger is still coming. I think it's a new start that all of us have to make. पर उसके
Yeah.
पहले आज की रात तो खत्म कर लो, भूख लगी है क्योंकि.
Indian football का बकरा मत बनाओ, बकरा खा लो.
Yeah. I
Okay.
think on that note
All
we'll wrap
right.
because there will like we'll get back together in a few days time to
ISL
to
तो
discuss
चल
the
ही रहा
ISL.
है.
हाँ.
I League is starting November 12th.
12th,
Date is
yay!
out. We don't know कहाँ टेलीकास्ट होने वाली है. We don't know how. like 12 टीमें
खेलने
पता
वाले
है,
हैं.
कहाँ खेलने वाले हैं कुछ
खेलने
पता
वाला
नहीं है.
पता नहीं है.
यार
पर
नवीन
12
फिक्चर्स सेट है.
फिक्सचर
है?
सेट है.
फिक्चर्स सेट है.
बट
है.
फिक्सचर्स बिना
Announce
ग्राउंड के
नहीं है.
कैसे सेट है? आबरिश में ये
Announce नहीं है.
बिना ग्राउंड के फिक्सचर्स कैसे सेट है? अगर मुझे
देखो.
पता नहीं कि अगर मुझे कल आइजॉल जाना है, गोवा जाना है,
देखो.
सबसे सेट किया.
पर्ची पे सेट हो चुका है. ठीक
हाँ.
है.
Everything is
अभी
set in
सिर्फ ग्राउंड
paper.
someone
फाइनलाइज.
said a very beautiful, I'm पता नहीं, you can fool some of the people some of the time, you can fool, but you can't fool all of the people all of the time. ये
बस
But
पर्ची
we are trying to do that.
पर्ची पे साइन करना बाकी है यार. तुम लोग समझते नहीं होगा. पर्ची पे साइन होएगा, अनाउंसमेंट हो जाएगा.
बाहर टीम है,
और
बाहर टीम है, लीग का प्रेस रिलीज है कि 6 लोग और विदाउट द होम ग्राउंड, लाइक 50%. मतलब अनाथ बच्चे हैं, सारे
नहीं.
अनाथ बच्चे हैं.
और को इट डजंट मैटर कि आज 17 अक्टूबर है, लीग 12 से शुरू होनी है ना.
20 दिन है, 20 दिन.
आ जाएगा यार. 20 दिन है, बताओ बहुत टाइम होता है. आ जाएगा सब कुछ.
I think this is a really good note to end today's show क्योंकि this is Indian football. So we need some ambiguity.
This is also very classic.
Which is why this is a good note to end, because
Sorry,
this is
no.
This is-
Also, this is very classic injury time, huh? And like
Oh, yeah.
very good. I love it. इससे end कर सकते हैं.
चलो इस पे हम end करेंगे.
Bye.
Thanks a lot for staying.
Bye,
We'll be
bye.
back pretty soon. चलो, bye bye. Good night.